I don't usually do long intros like this, but her achievements are so massive that they almost are unbelievable and go way beyond business. This is somebody who has broken their neck 3 different times. And after one of those injuries, she became an IFBB Pro bodybuilder in 2002. She earned her pro card just 6 months after breaking her neck. She also competed in the Try Fitness Challenge for 10 years and was inducted into the Hall of Fame at age 52. Her life story is absolutely insane. She survived stage 4A thyroid cancer and she overcame 30 years of bulimia along with anorexia, suicidal ideation, and self harm. And despite all of those challenges that she faced, she focused on improving others' health and their performance, and she made an incredible career at it. This next guest name is Stacy Wig. She's the founder and CEO of FitZone Personal Training and Wellness, and she boasts over 40 years in the fitness and performance industry. She began strength training at the age of 9, and by the time that she was 16, she was already running her own gymnastics gym. Today, she owns and leads multiple businesses. Her primary company is FitZone Personal Training and Wellness, where the focus is top-tier personal training with precision customized programming. Under that umbrella, there are 2 divisions: Fitco Wellness, which provides corporate wellness solutions, and the Buff Stuff equipment line, which includes the Fit Kit, which is a portable training system that's designed so people could train anywhere. She's also the founder of Virtual Vision, an international virtual assistance agency that pairs highly skilled Filipino professionals with businesses in the US and Europe. Academically, this is where it gets crazy. Stacy holds 2 master's degrees, one in psychology with a focus in sports psychology and another in physical therapy. On top of that, she's a board certified behavior analyst. Her professional credentials includes a NASM certified personal trainer for over 40 years, a NASM corrective exercise specialist. She's a NASM physique and bodybuilding specialist with over 25 years of experience, and she's also an ACE medical exercise specialist as well as an ACE group fitness instructor for 28 years. She's also certified in 12 different fitness modalities, including spinning, Zumba, and yoga. In nutrition and lifestyle coaching, she's a precision nutrition level 2 coach and a Czech certified holistic lifestyle coach. She's also a 200 registered hour yoga teacher, and she's a menopause specialist trained under Dr. Stacy Sims. In terms of coaching experience, her career includes 40 years as a personal trainer, 25 years as a bodybuilding coach, 20 years coaching gymnastics and all-star cheerleading, 7 years as a group fitness director and yoga coordinator at Lifetime Fitness, and 4 years as a program director at a children's gym. And not to mention, she's also did 3 years as a weight loss specialist in a professional health center. So when you hear Stacy speak today, just remember that you're hearing from somebody that has spent 4 decades mastering human performance and overcoming challenges that would have stopped most people 100 times over. She's an incredible individual. I'm honestly in awe of how she achieved all these things, but she is such an incredible person and she has an amazing aura and energy. And I'm really excited to bring this next guest to you guys. So without further ado, I give you guys Stacy Wig. Hey, this is David Cruz with the Optimum Advantage podcast, and I'm here with Stacy today. She's the owner of 3 businesses. So how you doing, Stacy?
I am great. How are you today, David?
I'm doing good. I know you told me that one of your businesses is your baby. Do you want to start with FitZone Personal Wellness?
I would love to. I would love to. So I've been in the fitness industry for 40 years. I'm 55. I ran my first gymnastics gym at age 16. So fast forward through a lot of messy life stuff and hard knocks. November of 2024, I got a phone call and it was my real estate agent, my commercial agent. I had been toying with opening an actual facility. I've done pretty much everything in the fitness industry except opening a welcoming space where everybody feels like home and can reach the common goals they have for themselves in their health, fitness, nutrition, and beyond.
So real quick,
And
is this online or
yes,
is it it is?
we have a facility.
Okay.
Our facility does predominantly small group personal training. We do one-on-one as well. We are an affiliate of DEKA, Spartan DEKA, which is a decathlon of functional movement, cardiovascular, and strength movements.
Wow.
And we have a physical therapy clinic, a massage therapy clinic. We also do online programming, so we are international.
That's incredible. I
Mhm.
mean, to you literally have everything in one place, and,
Everything in one place. That was the dream.
no, it's all amazing, and I mean, the amount of experience you have too, it's just crazy. I come from the same background. I was a personal fitness coach as well,
Oh,
and,
fantastic.
yeah, you're definitely living the dream because I mean, this is one of the most fulfilling jobs I think you could ever hope to get, just helping
It
people and,
really
like,
is.
making it a business. But can you
Yes.
tell us also a little bit about your other 2 businesses as well? Because I know,
Sure.
doing a lot of things out here.
Well, I started an equipment line during COVID because there was no equipment left to buy and people couldn't go to their gyms. And it was just a really precarious situation for people who wanted to stay fit and now they're
Yeah.
stuck at home. So I created Buff Stuff Equipment Line, which is basically it's a backpack about those of you listening, it's the size of a small backpack. And inside, you have an 11-piece long band resistance band set. You have 5 glute bands. You have a yoga strap, TheraBands, and an extra set of band handles. So you can work out from anywhere. And with that Buff Stuff backpack, we have an app, a training app. We added the training app for free for a month so they could have all kinds of workouts that they could do from anywhere. And so that's where
Wow.
Buff Stuff emerged and still
Perfect
lives to
timing
this
too.
day. Yeah,
Yeah.
yes. So you see a need, and I was like, what would I do in this situation? Well, I always found it fun to go to parks and, places outside and work out. And, you can do a lot with your body, but if you have a set of resistance bands, it's like having your own cable machine out in nature.
Yeah, you could basically hit every body part with that.
Exactly, exactly. And the other business is called Virtual Vision. So we pair skilled Filipino virtual assistants and executive assistants with American and British small to medium sized businesses that want to scale and grow and still have time to spend with their friends and family, which, as you probably know, most business owners have very little time to spend outside of their businesses.
I can attest to that. Absolutely.
Yes. And that business story is one close to my heart because it, right before COVID is when I realized I was creating a bunch of courses. I was doing online personal training. I was doing in-person personal training. I was, getting into more education and I really needed help. Social media is that rabbit hole that, if you open up social media and you start trying to develop that on LinkedIn and YouTube and Facebook and Instagram. I mean, that's a full-time job in and of itself. So I initially
Absolutely.
hired a virtual assistant through an agency.
Mhm.
And they were asking a very fair amount for a subscription each month. And they paired me with my virtual assistant that I currently have, and her name is Ivy.
Oh,
She is
wow,
like
she's still with you?
she is still with me, yes, many,
Wow,
many years later,
that's
and
incredible.
she is like a sister. She's
Oh.
been with me through it all, and about a year
Yeah.
in, I realized that she wasn't making a fair wage.
Mm.
The amount that I was paying, she was getting about an eighth of that.
Oh, wow.
An eighth, yes.
That's a crazy
So
structure.
and she has 3 boys, a niece to raise, a husband. They didn't have a car, they didn't have a washer. She hand washed everybody's clothes on the weekends, hung them out to dry. They took a little motorbike to go get groceries. I mean, that was their life in that first year, and I wanted to do something to change that. So we parted ways with that agency. I began paying her a fair wage directly, and then we decided to create our own agency where we paid a fair wage and beyond, having the ability for Filipino workers, not to just to make a fair wage, but to create and do something fulfilling. And, we do bonuses and commissions and things like that, depending upon the job. And then
Oh, wow, you made it
the
fun and incentivized
it's
it.
so much fun. And then it made such a difference in my life. At the time, my father was dying, and I was traveling 8 hours
Sorry.
on the weekends back and forth to care for him. And I would be on the phone working with her virtually, 8 hours up, 8 hours back. That's when we started this company. Great time to start a company, right? Um, but
It's
we've been
always
together
during
ever
some crazy
since.
times. Yeah.
Yes. And now I have 2 virtual assistants and a virtual assistant company, and we help small to medium-sized businesses grow, by providing them with skilled, help. And our team works a little differently. Most agencies, once you pair the virtual assistant or whatever it is you're hiring for with the company, you're done, right? That's not us. We have monthly meetings, they're educational. Our virtual assistants can reach out anytime. And if they have any skill set that they need to work on, we pair them with someone in our company, another virtual assistant or a business that's their genius, and they learn that skill. So
Oh, wow.
it's more of a team atmosphere.
Yeah, that's an interesting structure, because it's like everyone's kind of gleaming value off of each other. And I know,
Yes.
just from my own experience with that they're some of the best VAs, like as far as fulfillment and like the tech level that they know is
Oh
crazy.
my
Like the
gosh, yes.
coding is stuff that I could, only dream
No
of doing.
doubt. No doubt. Yeah.
So it's really cool to see that, and even just I mean that must be extremely fulfilling as well, just on that, and to see people be able to like support their families off like differently off of that wage. It's
Yes,
that
it
that
really
alone.
is.
Yeah.
So Ivy now has a minivan and a washer and, all the modern conveniences of life, and is providing for her precious boys who
That's so
just
beautiful.
love the English language and want to visit our country, and they're always watching like my YouTube videos and mimicking things.
Your biggest supporters. That's so
Yes,
cute.
exactly. I love it.
Yeah, and you know what? Like it's the like I said, I know somebody who is Filipino and that the culture is incredible. The food's amazing. But I just never thought of that structure like you were saying that you would have it like that because most of the time what they'll do is at least with other companies that I've seen in the same spaces, like they'll have um it's very kind of cold and robotic where they're just like, oh, they
Yes.
pair you with this, and then
Right.
there's not really any support on the back end as
Mm-mm.
far as fulfillment goes. It's just they kind of have a resume of what they kind of know, and then you're not really sure what level they know it at and stuff. So, no, that's really
Indeed.
cool. And can I ask you a question? How did you manage like all those things at the same time? Like, was that difficult?
How am I doing it today? By
Yeah.
by by my
I'm
team.
interested for myself. I just
It's a lot. There are
wow.
a lot of 14-hour days. Luckily, I love everything that I'm doing, but even when you love what you do, there's a breaking point, and I'll be completely
Mm.
transparent. I opened FitZone Personal Training January of 2025, so we just celebrated our first year.
Oh wow! Congratulations.
But I opened without a partner. I opened without any loans. I opened
Wow.
without anything. I pretty much had no help from the landlord to get all the renovations done in 6 weeks. Uh,
Oh my god.
so when you talk about stress, my level of stress for well over a year was beyond what I thought was capable, and I'm pretty resilient. So in December, it was so bad that I literally checked myself into a center for 3 days. That was a day program because I'm like, I've literally not done any self care in over a
Mhm.
year. I haven't taken a day off in over a year. And if I don't do this and get back to the basics of like, why I'm doing this, what my passion, what my mission and vision is about. If I'm not healthy and happy, I can't help others be healthy and happy. So I just,
Hmm.
got my team. I didn't even have a team until like 2 months ago. I was doing it all. I was doing all the coaching, all the
That is so
marketing, all the
incredible.
everything. So I got my
Yeah.
team together. It took a few days and got back on track. I had a major surgery during that time. That was December 26th.
Oh my god.
So we're 6 weeks out from that, and I just
Just when I
started
think it can't get, like
I just started training again yesterday.
No,
Yeah,
good for you.
so
That's
that was the
incredible. I mean,
longest time I've gone
yeah,
without training.
that how was that on your mental health? I mean, there should be a comic book about you, like, that's really honestly, like,
I know.
all joking aside, that's
I mean,
really incredible to be able to maintain that.
I've been in a wheelchair. I've had a halo because I've broken my neck several times, but I never
Wow.
really stopped working out during those times. I just did whatever I could do.
Mhm.
But this time, this surgery was like one that they were like, you cannot pick up more than a coffee cup for at least 12 weeks.
Wow.
But I'm at 6 weeks
That sounds
out
serious.
and doing push-ups and all kinds of stuff I'm not supposed to, but I'm listening to my body and I feel good. So
Yeah, people that are into fitness, it's kinda like that, you know?
yeah, yeah,
That's incredible. Can I ask you what made you get into fitness to have and then, yeah,
right.
thank God you did, right? Because I think that's kind of what you used as a resilience to build what you have now, if I'm correct?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. What made
Yes.
you get into that? Because everyone usually has a little thing, you
Oh, I
know?
have a story, yes. Yes. I think I was born for this. I remember when I was maybe 3 years old, I had an ab roller, and I would do, like, hundreds of ab rollers every day for fun, and then, my
Oh my
mom would tell me that I'd always come and say, "My belly, it hurts," and and she's like, "Yeah, you just did 500 ab rollers."
what?
So,
3 years
but
old.
yes. And then I started weight training at age 9. I was a gymnast. And I had a really good life and a really good disposition up until about age 13 when just again a life of hard knocks hit, and then that's
Mm,
when it all started. I had 3 pretty traumatic things happen right in a row, and back then, you didn't get your kids therapy. I mean, you didn't
mm-mm.
even like listen to their feelings. We didn't do feelings.
No, no,
Go out
different
and
times. Yeah,
play,
no, I know. Yeah.
right?
Oh my gosh.
So, my grandfather committed suicide,
Oh,
and
wow.
2 weeks later, my Mooma, she was a non-biological grandmother who pretty much had a huge impact in raising me. She passed away with cancer, and
Mm.
my parents decided that was a great time to adopt a baby, and I was on the fast track in gymnastics, and that was all I really had left after losing 2 of the people that made the biggest impact in my life,
Oh, man.
and was my gymnastics, and I was forced to quit gymnastics.
Wow. That
So I
must have
no
been
longer had my
devastating.
gymnastics coach or my gym, and
Oh,
that's where I felt confident and purposeful and happy. I felt like I had a future there. So
ugh.
I was a little Mary Lou Retton. I was gonna be the next Mary Lou Retton. You remember Mary Lou Retton, right? The
No,
Olympian
no.
back in the '80s? Okay. Well, some of your viewers will definitely remember her.
I'm sure I'm Googling it.
But that was my dream, and, after just that kind of trifecta of trauma, I went down a path that was not good.
Mm,
I
I can
became
relate.
a cutter. I
Mhm.
used to cut myself. I had an eating disorder. I went through a period of anorexia and then spent 30 years suffering from bulimia.
Wow.
And I was just suicidal ideology. So I was living a double life. At school, I was the cheerleader and an A student and,
Wow.
a smile on my face always. And then I go home and just spiral into
Oh
the
my
deep
god.
abyss,
So this was all behind closed doors, like, nobody
all
knew.
behind closed doors.
Ah,
And instead
the
of having
burden
the
of that
support
is
I
like
needed, I would
mm,
get chastised for my bulimic behaviors, chastised for my cutting, chastised for all the things because of maybe the guilt or whatever it was. But it didn't certainly make it better. I left home at 16. I
Wow.
got 2 jobs, and the rest is history. I went on this journey to prove myself and spent decades just getting degrees and collecting accolades in athletics because I finally was in control of my own destiny. So
Wow.
every opportunity that came around, I'm doing that. I'm going to become a physical therapist. I'm going to become a behavior therapist, an analyst. I'm going to become a professional bodybuilder. I'm going to,
Wow.
yes, all of the things I went after, I actually accomplished. But when you've never dealt with past trauma, it's never enough. You're always
Yeah,
looking for the next thing.
you can't
So
fill
you
that hole, yeah.
no, and you're on this just adrenaline, journey
Mhm.
where where's my
Yeah.
next,
It's like
where how many letters can I put beside my name until I'm taken seriously? How many
mhm,
accolades can I get till I feel actual joy?
yeah.
That type of thing. But I can say that as a 55-year-old woman now, that's creating space for people who have just kind of lost their way. I work with a lot of middle-aged men and women who many of them were athletes and were fit, and somewhere along the way of the life of hard knocks and
Mhm.
rearing children and their careers, they've you know lost that motivation or even a place for them to go and continue to be an athlete and to serve their own physical fitness needs. And
Mm.
so that's where FitZone Pond, from me remembering that the only place that felt like home to me was my gymnastics gym because
Wow.
of the community, because it was a place where I had
Mm.
purpose, and I wanted to create a space like that. That was everybody that walks into our space feels like home. They're
Yeah,
at
that
home.
community.
Yes.
Oh,
And our space
absolutely.
even looks like a home. Like, it doesn't look like a normal gym. We have an aromatherapy, like our own aroma therapy at the front. We have plants everywhere, and it's just like a nice
Oh,
space where
wow.
people feel at home.
That's something you never see plants in the gym. I have, like,
Plants, we
4
have
memberships, I know.
rugs. Yeah, we have an infrared sauna and with red light
Wow.
therapy and just yeah. So,
That's great. Where are you
very
located?
proud of that. We are in Ellicott City, Maryland, so we're in between DC
Okay.
and Baltimore.
Yeah, 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 I know the area. That's
Yeah,
so incredible. I mean, just your entire story, it's like I kinda connected a lot with what you said, because there's, people tend to gravitate back towards fitness, like, whenever they're, like, at a point in their life when you really it's like the path to redemption, right? At least where you could
yes.
start,
Yep,
and just
absolutely.
that having that safe place to go sometimes is like it's everything 'cause uh, it's kinda like everything goes away. It's just you and your physicality and, then
Yes.
once you're okay with that, you could kinda start to deal with everything else, but also just to have
Right.
that, like,
Yeah.
that thing to go. Everything you said, even you know what? Even like how you were saying how you're like chasing that next fix. It's that superficial kind of like like you said, I should say adrenaline. To me, I would say like it's dopamine, but it's without really connecting with like that deeper part
Yeah.
of what's really like I guess making you
Mhm.
even chase that. And
Yep.
I've kind of had a similar experience to you where like I think a lot of people really that are like super into the gym, kind of tend to have that experience. So like I just think it's incredible that like I never thought of like the gym as like a home,
Yeah. Yeah.
but when you put it like that, that's really incredible. Yeah.
Thank
And can I
you.
ask you when was it around the time where you kind of started to like uh like you felt like you were like really overcoming these things like and as things were starting
Oh,
to like calm down a little bit?
David, I wish I had like an answer that was much younger than the one I'm going to tell you because it was decades of that. And
Yeah.
then I was going through a divorce because when you have any kind of addiction, for mine, it was my eating disorder, you have the emotional intelligence of a 5-year-old. I
Yeah, I
mean,
can attest to that. Yep.
so, having a healthy relationship isn't something you can do, especially if
True.
you're chasing after other things
Yeah.
outside of that relationship all the time. And so, as I was going through my divorce, I had a shoulder injury. And every time I had a shoulder injury, because I've broken my neck 3 times, I would go get my neck scan because it was usually coming from my neck. This time I go to get my neck scanned, and the radiologist literally calls me at 8:30 at night, and I have all these masses, on my thyroid and the lymph nodes around my thyroid, and it ends up I had thyroid cancer that metastasized into my lymph
Oh my
nodes,
god.
and I was yeah, stage 4A.
Oh my god.
And so life
That's
really, like, changed in a flash.
yeah,
And
I c
suddenly,
wow.
yes, suddenly you are forced to be present, because
Yeah.
you don't even know what's next. You just got hit by semi, and you're just trying to get back up. And that
That'll
was
definitely,
that was
shake you
the
up.
end of my eating disorder. And
Wow.
so I say to people that, like, having cancer was the best thing that could have ever happened to me because it
Yeah.
was this wake-up call. Um, because I always felt like I could outperform everything or outwork everything. Well, you can't outwork cancer. And it
Yeah.
doesn't care if you're healthy. It's gonna, it's discriminatory. It's gonna take you no matter what, depending upon, your genetics and everything that's going on in your life. So getting hit with that forced me to slow down, become a little more present. And through that process, my taste buds actually changed. And maybe the man upstairs, like, look, you've been through a lot. Let me give you this one thing because sugar addiction is, just as bad, if not worse, than the addiction to cocaine.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, same
It's
receptors.
harder to get through that, and
Mm,
because it's everywhere, right? You can't just, you can't go to a social event and not be faced with it. You can't we're full of processed food and everything.
right.
So, but my taste buds prior to having cancer wanted sugar all the time, probably because I wasn't feeding myself enough
Mm.
as
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah,
bodybuilder.
calorie
I was
yeah, deficit will do that, yeah.
always on a calorie deficit, always overtraining. 4 hours of training was just a day in the life,
That's
right?
so
So,
crazy that you even
of
yeah.
course, I'm craving sugar, but slowing down and my taste buds having changed to where prior to having cancer, I didn't like dark chocolate or, spicy things or coffee or any of those. I just wanted sugar. And now sugar actually makes me sick. Like,
Wow.
I can't eat very much. I get very sick. And so I think that was a blessing.
No, absolutely. People don't understand sometimes what I've tried to explain it too, and the some of the hardest things you end up going through, they end up being your biggest blessings. And I know people say that on Instagram or whatever, but like I faced addiction. But for me, it was opiates, and it was incredibly severe to the point where, like, I think I had died like 4 or 5 times in a year.
Wow.
And that
Wow.
when you really like you pass away and you literally feel that, it's like that shakes you up so much. To other people would be like, "Oh, like, that's the worst thing that's happened to you." But no, it was really that's what saved my life because it wakes you up to the reality. Like when you're sitting there on like everything else disappears. All the things that you thought were important,
Mhm.
everything else that you mattered to you that you thought like you were
Yeah.
chasing, like everything just stops, and then you end up just you can't not look at yourself. It's like staring into like a
Right.
giant mirror and the
Yeah.
weight of that. It's like it's
Mhm.
almost you could feel it on like your chest. It's like what the things I haven't done, like what
Yes.
the regrets I have, like, what how I'm gonna leave people around me. And it's just that ended up being one of my greatest blessings that I think I've ever received. And I think it was the same with you where, something
Yes.
it's it's awful obviously to experience something like that, but sometimes like that's God, really. It's,
Yeah.
kind of like giving you a heads up, like, hey, you like a nudge, you can't keep going. And then,
Yeah.
like you said, yours came with a blessing. And it's
Exactly.
incredible. I mean, you've accomplished so much, and you're such an incredible person.
Thank
Um,
you.
yeah, it's really cool to see that. Um, and you
Well,
know
and
what?
I've
It happens
always
at different ages too, because for me, it
yes.
took a long time. So
Well, good to
I'm
hear
like,
that. I'm glad I'm not alone. No, not good to
no,
hear that, but I'm glad I'm not alone in the fact that it took me
yeah.
decades to get my shit
No,
together.
trust
You
me.
know?
Sometimes it's for a reason even because, like, if I would have
Yes.
had this when I was younger, I wouldn't have been able the maturity wasn't there, you
No.
know? So, like you said, the
Well,
emotional
I
maturity.
also think that and I've been through a lot. Like, every 10 years, I've been through something pretty tragic, and so, when I look at that and I'm doing any kind of self-assessment, I think to myself, that is one of the many things that makes me a great coach because I can empathize with
Yep.
people that are going through similar things. I've been there. I've been in a wheelchair. Thank God that like I'm not, I'm not handicapped now, but I got a taste, of what
Well,
that life is like. I have you broken my neck. I got a taste of what that feels like. I've had cancer. And so I can empathize, but I also don't let people get away with giving up in the face
yeah.
of those things.
Yeah, because you know what they're capable of, and what it means to not try.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
I I always tell them like I empathize, but I'm not going to sympathize because you need to get up and get moving and do what you can.
Yeah, and you know what? That's I think the best thing for coaching, like you said, because it's sometimes training, you could know every perfect movement to do, you could know everything, but when you're coaching somebody, especially like one-on-one, I think what's more important is the reason they even get people to coach them is what they want accountability, but they don't even realize that they need mindset training. It's really what you're there to
Exactly.
teach them, and through breaking them down, through building them back up, to teaching them like do not hate look at every way and be like, oh, like I gotta go do that. And it's like
Yeah.
your own perception of that motivate that is just like rubs off on them, like they see
Yeah.
it. And I think that is like I think one of the greatest gifts that I think a coach could give somebody is
Yeah.
having giving that perspective, um
Well, and Fits at FitZone, what I created at FitZone is that sweet spot. So you have all these gyms that have class formats where
mm,
you have 15 to 20 people in a class, maybe 15 to 20. You have one coach who can't possibly pay attention to everybody's technique, doesn't, may know their names, but doesn't really care if you show up. And definitely you don't know what you're supposed to do outside of that class. And then there's one-on-one personal training, which is great. You get all kinds of, incredible personalized approaches and attention, but you don't have that community.
mhm,
We're the sweet spot. So we do small group personal training, which has become pretty popular these days, but we have anywhere from 2 to 6 people per coach in a session. People get to know each other because it's a smaller, more intimate environment, and you've got a coach who knows everybody's injuries, knows multi-level training, understands physical therapy modalities, and so they don't just come to get that physical training. They come,
mm,
we do customized nutrition, we do their physical therapy programs, we give
wow,
them a customized training app so they know exactly what to do when they're not in session. We do monthly challenges. So last month, we did kick that bitch challenge. And I hope you don't, I hope I can use that word on here.
No,
Um,
please, go ahead.
so, and it was like, what is that thing that you're like, if I could just last January, if that I could just kick this one thing, it would have this domino effect. What is that? And everybody had to identify that and focus on that all month. And then they had to track it in their app. And we did prizes and all kinds of fun stuff. And we do that
You know
every
what?
month.
That is so you really I think it's because of everything, like, you might have gone through or whatever, your
Yeah.
experience, but, like, I you hit everything on the head because even when you train with, like, 4 to 6 people, they're not only getting the accountability from going from the coach, but now you're actually competing against the people, like, you don't wanna let these people down. You show up with
Right.
them every day, and you're still getting that personal one-on-one.
Yes.
You're doing nutrition on top of that, and the
Yeah.
environment is, like, infrared, like, that's incredible. I mean, I might have
And
to check out your gym one day.
if someone doesn't show up, I call them and put them on speaker, and
Oh,
everybody
man.
calls them out.
Oh, man.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that is so beautiful though, because that
Thank
creates
you.
that community that yeah, no, this is definitely one of the most unique, I think even, effective really,
Yeah.
gym situations I think I've ever seen. Congratulations.
Well,
Yeah, yeah.
we make it fun too because we forget how to play as adults, right?
Yeah.
So we have a trampoline that we bounce balls off of. We have a boxing, a heavy bag. We've got the ropes you pull as if you're a fireman, We've got like all the fun stuff, a tank to push and pull. I coach them all on the 10 zones of DEKA Strong, which is a decathlon for functional fitness, all levels, and we host those competitions. And
Oh, wow.
we just had one on Saturday with over 65 competitors with one course. And so we ran all day and we had all ages, all levels, 20 plus volunteers. And it was just such an
Wow.
amazing experience. And everybody was so gracious and so kind to one another. And it was just fun to see. I come from a couple brutal, environments, gymnastics and bodybuilding.
Yeah, it's definitely, focusing that much on aesthetics it could definitely,
Yes.
like, the thing I think that has come out kinda good lately from that community a little bit is, like, peptides, and, like, little kids
Right.
getting into it and stuff, that's been cool, but,
Yes.
yeah, as
That's
far as,
fun.
like, health-wise, I think you're
Yes.
absolutely, like, on point with that, yeah. You know what's funny? I have a picture with Ronnie Coleman in my
Do you?
Instagram, yeah,
Yes, I know Ronnie well.
yeah. Oh my god, that's crazy. You
Well,
met
I'm
him?
an IFBB Pro, so competed on that
Wow.
circuit for many, many years. I went pro in 2002, just 6 months after like recovering from breaking my neck.
Oh my god. Yeah, so you really competed for real.
Oh yeah, like 20 years.
That's
20 years.
crazy. I'm definitely gonna have to
Then
look you up.
But then I found a new
That's so cool.
sport. It's Tri Fitness Challenge, and it was 7 events. And so,
Uh-huh.
I like to do all the things. And it was bodybuilding, and it's bodybuilding, a fitness routine with gymnastics, bench press, shuttle run, box jumps, and 2 obstacle courses. It was like Spartan meets CrossFit meets bodybuilding.
Yeah.
And once I was introduced to Tri Fitness, I was like, this is my sport. So I competed in that for 10 years, kind of as I transitioned out of bodybuilding and got inducted in the Hall of Fame when I was 52.
Oh my god, congratulations.
So
You're
that
so
was,
incredible. Like, the things
oh,
you've managed to
thank
achieve.
you.
Yeah, yeah. Wow, how did that feel?
Amazing. Just more because it's a community I was really proud to be a part of.
Yeah, yeah.
That community is tight knit and they really support one another. And it takes an athlete, like, to bodybuilding is more about aesthetics. Here, this was aesthetics and athleticism combined. And so I loved the fact that you had to be all things. You had to be powerful, you had to be lean, you had to have mobility and flexibility and strength. And so it gave my training a ton of direction, and that filtered down into my clients. I had clients that competed in it. Um,
Oh,
and
wow.
so now that I'm competing in DEKA, now my clients are doing that as well and hosting competitions. And it's more geared towards middle-aged men and women. There are 3 levels, but DEKA Strong is just 10 zones of cardiovascular health, fitness, and functional movement. And then there's a mile, and then there's one that has 3/10 of a mile in between each zone. But it was designed for people who wanted to be strong and wanted to have something to work toward, but maybe due to the impact of their arthritic changes and things like that, they could no longer run or, you know,
Man.
do deadlifts or whatnot.
Right, right. Not
Yeah,
everyone could walk that or do a marathon with a broken foot like David Goggins. So
right. Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
But no, that's really incredible. I'm actually incredibly interested. I think I'm gonna check a lot of that stuff out after the show.
I will
Um,
send you some links.
please
I
do.
think you would love I would think you would love DECA if you like a good challenge and a way to like a reason to do farmers carries with like 120 pounds. Like
Y you know what's crazy is that, like, I think I would love it right now, I'm in a place where I started with as a little kid, I love running, like, sports, like, I got addicted to running, you know, because with everything else, like, I literally got addicted, I couldn't stop, and then afterwards, I started, like, I think I lost, like I was really severely overweight, and, I lost, like, 50, 60 pounds, and I
wow.
started working out, and I started training, and I got into, like, crazy shape. My friends were bodybuilders, and they compete I
Mhm.
never competed myself, but, you know, like, the changes were incredible, but then I never went back to, like, the sport thing, you know, because at the time,
Okay.
you know, I was working, like, I was cutting trees for the township, so, like, that's a physical thing in itself, and then I was
Yeah.
training after that, you know, doing the morning cardio and everything, and it's crazy because, when I was doing bodybuilding, I got so into it that I ended up, getting, rhabdomyolysis, you know, and so,
Oh,
like yeah, have
wow.
you ever had that from, like, overtraining and stuff?
I actually, amazingly enough, I
I'm so
haven't.
surprised.
Yeah, me too, because, I mean, I would go hard for hours.
That's crazy. Yeah, I had no idea. I didn't even know you could get it, you know, and then once I ended up getting it, I just it was it was a lot, and
Yeah,
that kinda
yeah,
stopped me that was, like, the buffer zone where I'm like, "Okay, like, I gotta, you know, slow down and everything," but
right.
Stacy, it was amazing to have you on. You are absolutely incredible. Can you just let everybody know where they could find you?
Absolutely. So FitZone, FITZONE, personaltraining.com is our website. You can find me on Instagram at Coach Stacy Wig, STACYWIG, and on Facebook as well, Stacy Wig and FitZone Personal Training.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on, Stacy. It was an absolute pleasure to speak with you, and, thanks again for coming
Thank
on.
you, David. Such a pleasure. Have a great
Thank
night.
you. Bye.
And bye now.